Hello, this is John Michael Goulet. I'm going to be doing this third presentation this morning, or this afternoon, I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and do one with Saint Barnabas, because he was also there in Antioch preaching with Apostle Paul. And so I'm going to go ahead and read you who is the Apostle Barnabas. Saint Barnabas was a Hellenistic Greek-speaking Jew born on the island of Cyprus, also in Cyrene. A companion to Saint Paul, son of encouragement, was a Hellenistic Jew. He bridged Jewish and Greek cultures, helping spread Christianity to the Greek Gentiles. He was one of the 72 disciples commissioned by Jesus and was instrumental in sponsoring Paul the Apostle. Martyrdom in Cyprus around 61 to 62 AD. Veneration, patron saint of Cyprus, and is highly venerated in Greek Orthodox churches. Establishing the church in Cyprus, Eastern Christianity. So that was Barnabas. He was one of the 72 disciples sent out to preach the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ, of Christianity. By the time they hit Antioch, it became Christianity, it became universal, and then it became Catholic. Now we have the Holy Catholic Church. So now we're going to go to St. Ignatius, the third bishop of Antioch. He's also was the Pope. This is St. Ignatius of Antioch. The two lions are the ones who devoured him in Rome. So we're going to do that story right now. This is St. Ignatius again, and he was eaten by two lions. We're going to tell you that story right now. So St. Ignatius of Antioch, 35 AD to 107 AD, was the third bishop of Antioch, a disciple of St. John the Apostle, and a martyr killed by lions in the Roman Colosseum during Emperor Trajan's reign. Arrested in Antioch, he was marched in chains to Rome, writing 7 influential preserved letters along the way, encouraging church unity and theology. Martyrdom. St. Ignatius was martyred in Rome between 107 and 110 AD. He famously welcomed his death, calling himself God's wheat to be ground by the teeth of wild beasts. He was the first to use the term Catholic to describe the universal church and emphasize the authority of bishops. Feast day, October 17th. His remains were brought back to Antioch, but returned to Rome in 637, where they now reside in the Basilica of St. Clement. He writes 7 letters. St. Ignatius of Antioch's letter to the Cimmerians. One of the letters was called number 8. If you look up the letter to the Cimmerians by St. Ignatius of Antioch, written around 107 110 AD, contains the earliest use of the phrase the Catholic Church. He establishing the term connection to unity and universal. Ignatius writes, wherever the bishop appears, there let the people be, as wherever Jesus Christ is, there is the Catholic Church. He wrote that one letter to the Cimmerians, and it's called number 8, a letter to the Cimmerians, where he explains to them that the Christianity that he's calling universal turns into the Holy Catholic Church. So written by St. Ignatius to the Church of Smyrna, this letter emphasizes the importance of visible, unified church under the bishop to combat heresy. In chapter 8, they call it chapter 8, but I couldn't find it. I just call it number 8 of the letter to Cimmerians, Cimmerians, which can be found in the New Advent website. Ignatius asserts that the presence of the bishop is crucial for the validation of the Eucharist and for defining the Catholic or Universal Orthodox Church. The term Catholic, from Greek universal or according to the whole, was used to describe the entire church, not just a local group, and was used to distinguish the Orthodox Church from heresy sects. The letter also emphasizes that as a user of the rhetoric tread notes, the Orthodox Christian viewpoint is that the Eucharist must be celebrated under the bishop as a way of confirming the real presence of Christ and maintaining unity. So, this is St. Ignatius again. And Trajan sentenced him to death. I mean, it was a pretty scary death. Okay, now it says right here, St. Ignatius, a prominent early church father and bishop, was martyred in Rome by being fed to lions. In the Flavian Amphitheater, Colosseum, during Emperor Trajan's reign, he was arrested for refusing to denounce his Christian faith, and on his journey to Rome, he wrote 7 letters defending the faith and expressing his desire for martyrdom. His feast day is October 17th. As Bishop of Antioch, he was condemned to death for not complying with Emperor Trajan's edict to worship false gods. Choosing death over apostasy. During his journey from Syria to Rome, he wrote 7 influential letters to various churches and Polycarp, emphasizing church unity, the Eucharist, and defending against heresies. Final words, he famously embraced his fate, writing, "I am the wheat of the Lord, I must be ground by the teeth of these beasts to make the pure bread of Christ." He was martyred in Rome, often reported to be in the Colosseum in the early 2nd century, roughly 107 AD. Legacy, he is considered one of the most important apostolic fathers, and his relics are associated with St. Peter's Basilica or St. Clement's in Rome. Again, his feast day is October the 17th. This church celebrates this martyrdom. Again, this is St. Ignatius of Antioch, the 3rd bishop, the 3rd pope of Antioch. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this one presentation. I'm pretty sure there's more coming about the cave of St. Peter's in Antioch. Evodius, Peter was the first pope of Antioch. He preached there 8 years. Paul and Barnabas were there for a year. Evodius, Saint Evodius was the second bishop pope, preached for 27 years. I believe that Saint Ignatius preached Okay, St. Ignatius of Antioch served as a bishop of Antioch for roughly 40 years, from approximately 67 AD to 68 AD till his martyrdom around AD 107. The third bishop pope of the city, succeeding Evodius, with links to St. Peter, he preached against early heresies, fostered unity, and strongly defended both the humanity and divinity of Christ. He preached there 40 years. 40 years he preached in Antioch. So with these three popes getting everything started here in this world today, we've had many, many popes in Rome. We're still going. We had St. Francis, Pope St. Francis. We got Pope Leo the 14th. That's the Pope now here in 2026. And it just keeps going and going and going. I mean, it's never going to end. Catholic Church will be here for all eternity. I call it the true Christian Church. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this presentation. God bless you, and you have a great day.